All right, good evening, everybody. If you are joining me from Monrovia, Liberia, or if you are joining, I don't know why we always think that, Monrovia is Liberia. Well, if you're joining me from Liberia, we'll say welcome to the broadcast. If you're joining me on YouTube, Facebook, welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the show. This is the platform called Liberia Shall Rise. Indeed, we believe it. We believe Liberia will rise. And so today's segment, you will see that there's a little change. Usually on the first Sunday of the month, we do something called Uncover. But today we are going to do Table Talk. And Table Talk is where we take some of the trending news. We take some of the trending news and we actually just go ahead and just um, publicize that. And so, again, if you are joining us from Liberia, you will be listening to us on Freedom FM 87.9. And to the guys in studio, we say thank you so much for the broadcast. Mr. Sapalucia is trying to join me. I think he's going to join me here shortly. Um, but today we're going to do Uncover. And the way we're going to do, Table Talk today, the way we're going to do Table Talk is going to be something I am calling rapid fire. So we are going to take some of the trending news in Liberia, some of the trending issues that took place maybe this week and the following week, and we're just going to run through them as quickly as possible. Mr. Sapalucia is here. I think I can bring him on. Let me see if he is stable, and I'm going to bring him on. Jack, how
Good
are you doing
afternoon.
today?
Good
You look
afternoon.
good in the outfit.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. I
Oh,
think your
okay.
internet
Yeah, yeah,
is fixed now. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
hearing you.
Yeah. My whole internet is off, so I gotta use my phone. So I gotta manage
Oh,
it here
okay.
today. Yeah.
Man, I'm glad you can still join me. So today I was just introducing the segment. I was telling our viewers that today we are going to do table talk, and the way we're going to do table talk is going to be like a rapid fire kind of thing. We're going to take some of the trending news of last week and a week before, and we're just going to run through them as quickly as possible. And again, we want to thank the guys in studios on Freedom FM 87.9. Thank you for joining us. And to our viewers, if you have a question or you would like to give input, please feel free on any of the topics we are going to be discussing. Sapo Lucia, the first thing I want to jump on, while the guys in studio getting set up, let me just hear from you. How is the country of Texas? Because you guys feel like you have your own nation all by yourself.
Well, yeah, we've been trying to be independent after, even though we're the last to come on board, we still want to be the first to get out. So we'll see how that goes. But as for weather, it's getting hot. Our summer came early since May 23rd. Around May 23rd, we had experiencing 90, 95, 99 degrees. So
Ooh, I
summer
can
came
only
early.
imagine when we get to August and September.
Yes, sir. So summer came early, and at least we had a cool down in the last few days. It rained a little bit. So the weather today is great. Yes.
But you know what? This is why I always put my mouth on you guys because I have been in Liberia with some of you guys. You come to Liberia, can be acting like it's so hot that you can't stand it, and here you are, hundred, almost 100-degree temperature already. It's not even July, it's not August yet. But when you go to Liberia, you can be acting like you live in air condition and you just don't sweat. Not
Well,
you,
the thing
because
is,
I was in Liberia with
yeah,
you, not you personally.
for those,
Yeah.
yeah, for those that go there and stay there, the upside for them is that they have air conditioned cars, they got air conditioned house, right? However, in Liberia, is the reverse. Where when you go for the heat, when the heat chases you outside, you don't want to run inside because when you run inside, the heat is more in the house than outside. So you run by outside because you got some breeze going on. So
My man.
that's the downside for. But
My man,
anyway, that's our country.
you must say we're Yana boys in Monrovia. So
Yes.
I can't do it. When I
No,
get
that's
to
why I don't
Liberia,
complain. That's
I
why
get to
I don't
Liberia,
complain.
I get to Liberia, I would take the American hat and put it somewhere else, and I would
I
do
can
my
leave it at the
Liberia thing.
airport here. I can leave it at the airport here.
Yeah, no, but for you, you're a real Liberian guy. You're not one of those guys who go to the country and start acting like you don't know the country. You and myself,
Yeah,
I think last year we're there together, so I know exactly how you interact with people. So I really appreciate that. The people I'm putting my mouth on, that people that leave from here go to Liberia and start acting like, oh, what is that food? What is this? What you act? No, 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 no. Don't do that stuff around me. I'll call you out before you know it.
I
Liberia
tell you, my brother.
Liberia is our country. That's the only place we go, and we feel at home, we feel secure, we feel safe, and we feel like we're home. And so
Yeah,
today we are going to be doing something I call rapid fire. So we'll take some of the trending news that was in the news in Liberia, and we're going to go through them as quickly as possible. And again, our studio guys, we say thank you on Freedom FM 87.9. And so, Sabuli said, where I want to start. I want to start with the news that came up, where basically I'm just gonna put it out there. There were three senators that came together, and they want to propose this new act to establish a Muslim holiday in a country. And at least I don't laugh, my man. Don't laugh. You are a politician from high school, so I'll put in this. But they want to establish a Muslim holiday. And so when you look at it, you are talking about equality, you are talking about inclusion, you are talking about diversity, you are talking about all of these different things. Liberia, if I still remember history, Liberia, 85% Christian, maybe we say 15% Muslim, but that number is dwindling. Even the Christian number is going down. And then we have other small little groups. But what's wrong with this issue of, Christians, we got our Christmas, we got the Easter, we got all of these different things that we celebrate. What's wrong to making Ramadan or, Eid Fitri, the Muslim, the Muslim breaking of the fast? What's wrong with making that a national holiday?
So, Sharif, when it comes to the holidays in Liberia, I'm one of those people who do not think we should have all those holidays. I have just been against it. It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas holiday, Easter holiday. First of all, we have to go by the Constitution. There is nothing in the Constitution that states that Liberia is a Christian nation. According to the Constitution, it states that every man is free to worship the way he wants. Mm-hmm. That makes the country a secular state. Now, I have had issue with having for a nation to recognize Christian holidays. Not that I'm not a Christian, I am. But if we want to be fair to the nation, let us accept it. And let me correct you when you talk about the percentage of Christians. The Christian is 35. It's supposed to be 35%. Muslims will be 50%. And then traditional people are the dominant people. But here we are in a nation that the traditional people are dominant. They are not recognized. Okay, and the Muslim brothers are right. They are 100% right to ask for their own holidays. And I hope the traditional people also can start asking for their holidays. And I hope the Buddhists can start asking for holidays. Then Liberia will understand.
Let's go. Where does it end, though? Where does it end? Because at some point in time, you have to get, the laws, the lawyers, the legislature, and the leaders of the nation. They have to establish something. And thank you for the point of correction, actually, on the number of Christian versus Muslim. But go ahead.
Yeah. So exactly. The point I'm asking all these people to come and ask for that holiday, so that Liberians can stop being. And I hate to say this, but you see these excuses of having days that are losing money. Okay, you and I are in the United States. Mm-hmm. Is Christianity a dominant religion in the States? Yes, it is. Okay. Christmas is not a national holiday where they tell people don't go to work, don't go sell, don't do anything. It is by choice.
Sure.
Okay. Yes, it is by choice. So in Liberia, I know when we were there,
it is still a banking holiday. So when we talk about banking, we chase around the bank, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. Mm-hmm. What I'm coming to is this: in Liberia we have government holiday and we have national holiday. I think all holidays should be a government holiday. That's what I think. All holidays. Okay? Because it is irrelevant. You got look, even the independent days in the United States, people can do whatever they want to do. That is a day that's supposed to be rated a national holiday. But it is not considered a national holiday. It's not considered a federal. Let's call it federal because they say federal holiday. It's a federal holiday only for government offices to be closed and those other businesses who want to be closed, like banks, for example. Right? Mm-hmm. Because they feel that on that they may not make a lot of money. I think they kind of weigh the income that will come and the money they will spend on staff. That's one of the main reasons I think for the banking system, the reason why they don't open on those days. But if you really look at it, Liberia lose a lot of money every year on these holidays because they start people from first of all, you have Sunday that is declared a holiday. People don't make businesses.
But you shut down. Let me correct you for. Let me go jump in here for a second. When you say Sunday is declared a holiday, that is not a government imposed holiday, though. I think you and myself were in Liberia. I remember clearly you making a point here. I remember when we used to go, even if you open the shop, they would tell you to close it or something like that. Yes. Close the shop, or you have people going around. And right now, it is still in there. When you close it, if you want to operate a shop, you have to have permit. That's exactly what they have now. You want to open your shop on Sunday, you have to have a permit. I believe that's what's in there now.
Yeah,
But it is
yes.
not declared a national holiday. Businesses can still open. Government can still get resources if they wanted to. It is not declared a national holiday.
Well, yes, it was not declared. It's not in the constitution. It's declared a national holiday. However, it was a recognized holiday for Christians, for quote unquote Christians Day, because that's a day to consider a worship. All right. I know when I was in high school, we debated this. If we have Sunday being recognized as a day for Christians to worship, why don't we have Friday for the Muslim to worship? And that day, students should not go to school.
And
And the
that's what they're
debate,
asking for now. That's what these
okay.
legislatures are saying. These legislators are saying now
But
we are going
let me
to.
come in here. Let me finish your story too. Because at the time we were in SDA, and then they said, and some of us said, okay, if that is the case, if Islam brothers are having the holidays on Friday, then the advantage should also ask that we should have a holiday on Saturday, because then we have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as a holiday prepared for religious holiday.
Yeah.
So you see, so in my opinion, and from my observation, instead of making all these laws, I think we should get rid of all these holidays as being national holidays, and let it be a holidays that maybe we call it government holidays, where it will be a choice whether you as an individual citizen can obey that holiday. Let's say if I'm a Christian, if Christmas Day is holiday, I can say, look, I'm not selling, I'm a Christian, I'm going to observe this day. The Muslim brother who don't believe in that can go about his normal businesses. Okay, that's what I think. But
Okay.
if we continue to add all these national holidays, there will come a time that bro will not, in fact, right now they don't function in a way. There will come a time that those who are open to really economic benefit for the nation will start to feel that, well, we're losing a lot of money every time we talk about holidays.
So Sapolusa, let me just introduce a segment again. And to you, those that who are listening to us, whether you're joining us on YouTube or Facebook, we say this is Liberia Shiraz. Welcome to the platform. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. We have these catchy topics that we bring on every now and then, and you will be the first to know. And so today, the first week, the first Sunday of this month, we are talking about Table Talk. And Table Talk, this is where we take the trending news in the country and we just kind of do a quick review of it. And so the one on the table right now is the legislatures proposing that the Muslims have their own holiday in the country. And so Sapalucia, you said something. Let's stay on this for a second. So you mentioned something. If the Seventh-day Adventists decided that they want, I think there was already something that when they were stopping transportation from running on Saturdays or on weekend, Adventists said, no, we need transportation to run. We need people to run because I tell you what, we got to go to church. We got to do our thing. But I promise you, as a Seventh-day Adventist, we would never come up and say in Liberia we want our own holiday. No, we don't care. We would not. That would not be on the table. But you have these two major groups, Christians and Muslims, and the Muslims are saying, it is only right that we have our own holiday. It is only right that we do so. And as far as I remember, Sapalucia, correct me here again. As far as I remember, you and myself went to school in Liberia, went to high school. We started LU there together. As far as I remember, there used to be the day of the breaking of the fast, even though it was not called quote unquote holiday. But the Muslims still celebrate it the same way we celebrate Christmas. Am I wrong?
Mhm. No, you are right. Yeah, I mean, and they closed all their shops.
They close
I
all
know
the
Muslim Congress School at the time, and at the time that was the biggest high school. And there was another Ahmadiyya Muslim school. They were closed on that on some Friday. I think used to have a half day Friday or something like that nature. But on the Ramadan, yes, they were closed. Or they actually closed.
Yeah, so if we already have that in place and no one is giving you a hard time, you can do what you want. The government is not saying open your shop. Why? What is the rationale behind it? So right now I want to go in the legislative section. These three legislatures that are proposing this. What is the rationale behind it? Is it just because you have been in the legislature for, I don't know, 2-3 years, you have not passed a single law, and this is the easiest thing for you to pass? How does this really benefit the people? So let's think from the legislative standpoint. What is the
So,
benefit? What does it do for the community?
and I have picked up certain things that I have decided to be using for the last 2 or 3 years now. And this is the thing I tell people. I said, do not just listen to what the man is saying, but listen to what he is not really saying. So yes, we might be looking at the surface right now, just looking at, okay, why are you asking for this when you already have it, you already practice it or whatever? But no, it's about equality. That's all I see here. It's about equality. Because let me tell you this: there's something, and this is something that has been going on in Liberia for a long, long time. I know you and I may have the same thought about it when it comes to the biases that we see against the Muslims and some groups, even within our ethnic groups. Some groups like the Madingo, I'm not going to be shy away. I'm not going to shy away from it. The Madingo have always been told they are not from Liberia. They have always been told. Why? And even though our history told us that King Saubosa, who was a Madingo man, was one of the founding members who negotiated with the settlers. So if you're telling me that this group of people are not from Liberia, where are they from? Because all of us migrated to Liberia one way or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because they don't have a specific, or they don't have a county that they own, they can call, oh, this is my county. People say that they are not or Liberians, which is actually false. Because if you look at the 16 tribes, they are there. So I think this legislature is also to bring attention to that discussion where equality will be an issue. I was just watching a video a few days ago right before they had this the election in Nima County. Okay, and some people are making this statement. Right after the election, actually, when the speakership, when they're having the re-election for the speakership, I heard a statement from people talking about like right now, ready for Bandigo man to be speaker yet. And I heard the same discussion again in 1997 when ARCO had an election. I mean, when ARCO formed this political party, when Alaji G.V. Nkrumah was the standard bearer, people say again, Bandigo man cannot be president of Liberia. Now, if the man is citizen of the country and the Constitution gave him that, he or she that right, who are you or who are we to tell them that they are not eligible to be part of that, to hold those rights? And I think this legislature is to bring attention to those disenfranchised behavior towards this group. That's what I think.
Okay, I mean, no, I think you make the point, and but again, we have to look at it. In Liberia, we always say if something is not broken, don't try to fix it. Because this system has actually operated for a long time. I have never remember in the history of our country, as we are young people, so we can say we know a lot. We're not speaking to the people back in the 60s and the 70s. That's not what we say here, because we don't know that. But as far as I can remember, there has never been an uprising. And again, I stand corrected. Anybody listening out there who knows something I don't know, please post it. As far as I remember, there has never been that instance where there was a group of people that were actually protesting because they wanted their own holiday. I've never heard it from the Muslims. I never heard the Muslims protesting that we are not going to move until we're going to march to the Capitol building until we are recognized. Never heard it. Never heard of it. And we have coexisted. We have done things together. When the holidays come, when they do their fast breaking, they celebrate. Those of us who had neighbors who were actually Muslims, we celebrated with them. They gave us gifts. They gave us food. We celebrated with them. And so there was nothing wrong there. We have coexisted for this long. So why try to fix something that does not need fixing? Are you trying to get a political? Are these guys in these three legislators? Are they in communities where they actually have majority Muslims, and now they're trying to buy political favor? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because I don't see the idea behind it. It has never been an issue, so I don't know to bring it up. It's just to start something that does not need to be brought up. My opinion on that.
Okay. And I respect that, but I think it's more of people trying to be equal to everybody and should be respected or regarded in that light, regardless of they being minority. And as we speak of this, look, I'm going to be real with you, and not to kind of go away from the discussion, but if you look at how people have been marginalized in the country, sometimes it will take a generation to bring that to light as well. Let me take one thing. Liberia is mostly dominated by traditional people. Well, the population, most of the population are traditionals. However, the Christian religion have dominated the country in almost every aspect. Okay, tell you this: if the Liberian government said today we're going to suspend people from going to church, in fact, we don't even go far. Right when the coronavirus hit, when they said people should not go to church, it was a big deal. But if the Liberian government said today, Let us suspend people from going to church for 7 days. There will be an uprising in Liberia. But mind you, the Minister of Internal Affairs suspended our traditional school until June. We are a nation of tradition. Why are you suspending our tradition? You see, these are things that don't make sense. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter whether I'm a Christian, but we have lost our tradition already. And then you continue, you're trying to erase it altogether because that's how it starts. We got a country, yeah, you got a country of Liberia where inequality is being exercised all the time. You know, and that could be some of the cause of this particular legislature, in my opinion.
Okay, I mean, I like the point, but it basically, this is a deeper thing we're talking about here. Because the more I listen to you speak, the more I think about the history, and the more I go back to our national symbols, the more I go back to our seal, our national seal, our constitution, our preamble, and all these different things. It's deeper than we are just saying. We're just scratching the surface, not even the surface. It's very deep, because when you talk about a nation of tradition, are we really? When you talk about a nation of people with all of this culture, are we really? And maybe it's just now that maybe when you listen to the radio stations, you hear nothing but maybe African music now and other things. But I promise you today, when you and myself growing up, we grew up wearing jeans and t-shirt and listening to Celine Dion, listening to R&B, listening to all of these American thing, wearing
I was
American
never
attire.
proud. I was never proud to wear this during the 80s and the early 90s. Never.
I'm telling you.
We shy from wearing these things.
We were shy from wearing those things, our African attire. So are we really a people of culture? But when you see the Ghanaian man, when you see a Ghanaian, when they wear that kente, they can go for official events, they wear that traditional thing. The Nigerian can go for official event, they're wearing that abada, they're wearing that. That's a symbol. That is something that they hold fast to. Are we really a culture of people? I mean, are we really that nation? When you look at our national symbol, the seal, the love of liberty brought us here. Are we us? Are we us? Are we part of that us? And so there's a whole lot that actually goes into it. So if you want to talk equality, that's the problem I have with this particular push for this particular thing. Because if you want to talk equality, please let's go back to the very beginning and let's start to work our way backwards. Let's not just pick one thing that's here and say we're going to jump on this one. There is more to be done to bring about that equality than to just cherry pick and pick something that speaks to you at this particular moment. That is just this.
Yeah, but Sherry, you have to also know that it would depend on who want to bring this forth, right? If I had the opportunity, those are things I would bring up because I have, my position on it when it comes to the seal, when it comes to the flag, my position on these things. It does not represent the Republic of, it does not represent the aborigine of Liberians. It doesn't. So we have to go back and see what can we do to look like ourselves, and we will not be the first country to do that. Today we call Burkina Faso. That was not the name. Today we look at South Africa flag. That was not the flag they had. So we can still come up and be African and be Liberians without, even if we want to change our name. If I look at the continent, African or AU need to go back and look and change the continent name to the original name. But we got a lot to do, not just in Liberia, but in Africa as a whole. So we need to go back. If we want to really be free as a free people, we have to get rid of those things that were given to us and start using those things that we had. In my opinion, that's the way to freedom and independence.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sapolucia. We're about to go to another segment here. And to our viewers, we say continue to share the broadcast for us. This is Liberia Shall Rise. You can find us on YouTube. You find us on Facebook. And also you're listening to us live on Freedom FM 87.9 in Monrovia. And we have just ended the segment on the push for these legislatures. The legislatures who want to bring about this holiday, Muslim holiday, just to have this form of equality between the Christians and the Muslims. But we should be very careful with that. As we close the segment, here's my opinion on that. We should be very careful with this, because when we start to cherry pick and say everybody can have his or her own holiday, before you know it, all these different minority groups, they will actually push for their holiday. Don't forget, we had the Baha'i faith in Liberia. Don't forget that. We have all of these different pockets of religions in Liberia. And if each one of them advocate for their space, you will have no working day because everybody will have holiday every day. So economically, it could impact us. So let us be careful with that. Sapalusi, I saw a video that was very interesting as we go to the next segment. Very interesting. I believe it was on Wednesday. And this was actually shared with me from one of my friends who's visiting Liberia. She was actually on her way to, she was right in that rehab area, driving around Joseph Walker House area. And for some reason, her vehicle was stopped. She couldn't go any further. And the reason she could not go any further is because the entire road was blocked in front of President Walker's house. They blocked the road, and the people that were sitting there, these were women, and the story, I already can confirm the story, but one of the stories that came out was these are widows of AFL wives, right? And these widows, they were sitting in front of the president's house. They have been there, they interviewed this one lady. She said, we've been here since 7 o'clock. The president have not come out to see us. We've been here, and the president have not even sent people to give us water. We've been sitting here. But these people were sitting, saying that they are hungry, that the country is hard. And these were mothers. These are the mothers that pray for our country. We just ended the segment on religion. But these are mothers that pray for our country. These are mothers that help end the Civil War. These are mothers that will be there to nurture the country. And these are mothers that uplift the country in times of fast and prayer. These people were sitting in front of the president's house, and they were practically begging because the country is hard. Is it the right thing to do, though? In as much as they took it to the preso, they went to the preso house and sit in front of the president's house. Is that the right thing to do, Mr. Sapalusi, as we enter this segment?
So you see, before I go to those women, because this is not the first time. It started, I think this march started during Ellen Johnson at this time. That's the first time they started this thing, the widows of the AFL. You see, having served in a branch of military and knowing what sacrifices are made by those people, and the current president being a former major, that is MAJOR, a major of the Liberian Armed Forces, I would think he would be kind of you have this on mind. But this is the failure of, in my opinion, the national government, in that I think they have a Veterans Affairs in Liberia, okay, but they don't have anything in place that supports even the AFL man if he got injured today. Absolutely nothing. And they don't understand the ramification when it comes to having to train an armed man, right? And then you just dash him by the wayside. And this is where we always say Liberia is a nation of peace. Liberians are peaceful people. They are loving people. They are caring people. Because in many countries, if you train a person armed with guns and train them how to use it, and then you just dash them, you are asking for trouble, right? You're asking for trouble. It's unfortunate that they have to go to the extent. But let's go back to, you just talk about the legislature. Let's go back to that as well. All those women came from within a district in the Republic of Liberia or in Monrovia or Montserrat County, somewhere in a district. And these women, I know they have gone to the legislature before, because I know during Ellen Johnson they went to the Capitol building. During George Blair time, they went to the Capitol building. But their lawmakers are not doing anything about it. All the lawmakers care about is how, even though they're giving them all this money, how they can continue to raise more earning for themselves. That's all they care about. So if these people are not getting redresses from the legislature and the court, what do? They will have to be, they say desperate desperate time calls for desperate measure. So they'll have to take the desperate measure to go to the president and confront him directly, which is not supposed to be done. But when you feel that you're not being heard by those people that are supposed to hear you, well, you have to take it to the president who you think will hear you. And the fact that they were there, according to, if this is correct, we put that disclaimer there, and if this is accurate, then the president, in my opinion, would not be different from previous government who have let these women down. Then again, that is if the information is accurate.
And I think that's my point exactly that you just made with regards to the district that each of these women come from, the districts. Because look, the president cannot do everything. Even in simple management, I always look at the president to be like a manager. You are administrator, you're a manager, you manage this firm, you manage this corporation. And those of us who have been blessed to be in management position, we understand you cannot hold everything. That is why you delegate, you do some things, and you put people in position to actually follow your goal, follow your vision, and be able to meet those things that you want to achieve. Without these people being properly trained and be able to go with your vision, you fail as a manager. You fail as a manager. And that is where you, as a manager, you start to look within. What is happening with my group? How can I make this group? This ship is going sideways. How can I move this ship to actually go in the right direction? That is what you do. CEO, managers, that is what you do. You are always problem solving. And so each of these women, they come from a district. And the district have the people you call representatives, and they might have they have a senator, override senators. But before we even get to the representatives, each of these little communities in Monrovia now, I just got to man, I'm just loving this thing. Each of these little communities, they have chairmen or chairwomen. They have chairperson in each of these little communities. And so in case of something, you go to your community chair, and that chair takes it to your representative if they can solve it. So there's a chain of command that they follow through. Where is the broken link? Where is that weak link that these things are not being solved? Because we hear legislature say we need community development fund. We need all of these different. Look, I'm not saying I mean people should go stay in front of the representative door and be banging on that gate and say we need money. You can't put money in people's pocket. But you, as a representative, one of the beautiful things that you do, you create job. Again, that's why I'm going back to the community. You create job in your community. You actually bring about development in your community that will help the people that live in that community to get job. One of the things my representative does, basically, they are always lobbying. If they have to give a company a break just to bring that company to that city to create job, that's what they're doing. They're always lobbying. So what are we doing in Liberia? Why can these people not be heard? And they have to go sit in front of the president's house.
So, again, it will come back to what I always say. And what I say, I know you guys always say, oh, don't say that we have a system. It's having a system that is not enforced, right? And you strike a point that you cannot give everybody money. That is the lawmakers. But in fact, it's exactly what the lawmakers said. I remember under the previous administration, lawmakers said they were asking the finance minister to give them extra money because people come to their houses to beg. That's what they said. I mean, it's on record. You can go to the newspaper, they got videos of it, of lawmakers saying that. When people were asking that the lawmakers' money, some of this money should be reduced so that it can be invested in the community, they said, no, give us the money so that we can give it to our people, as if they say they have begun the saving bank for the people. So again, it comes to priority. Like what you just talked about. I was just having the same discussion yesterday with somebody in Liberia. While it is true, in Liberia, lawmakers may not be able to find companies to go to lobby for jobs to come in their district. But one thing I know they do is they always sign concession agreement. But if you look at the concession agreements they sign, there is nothing in there for many of these companies or these so-called investors to open semi-finished product in the country. None of them. They just give the people the raw material to take out. How do you expect jobs to be created? So those are some of the things they, as lawmakers, when this concession agreement comes to them from either the company or the executive manager, they're supposed to go by in there and say, okay, I'm from District 1. Like if I'm using Bonkade, I'm from Bonkade and I'm born in District 1. I said, okay, if you say you want to open company in District 1, hey, Mr. President or whoever brings this concession agreement, this is what I expect. You say you want to take sand, build a sand factory. If you want to take this sand, I know you're making glass out of it, open glass factory here. Train my people so that these people don't have to come to me to give them money because he or she has just created a job, right? And at that point is this. We hear that the lawmakers getting extra money for engagement. Look, Liberians are just making fun out of themselves. Maybe they don't know maybe the Liberians don't know the function of the lawmakers. The actual function of lawmakers are not to sit in the Capitol building. Their function is to come to you and talk to you every time. You are the one that's supposed to make law for them because you come to them and say, hey, Mr. Representative, this is what we're lacking in this place. We need XYZ company to come and do this. His concession agreement he signed, that's the law. Why? To meet your needs. But if you're telling me, give me 30,000 extra for me to engage my community, then it tells me that even the lawmakers don't know, either they don't know what they are there for, or they're just being, I don't know, greeted. One way or the other, it still doesn't make them fun. So look, it's because our people are not being heard, and they feel that the way to bring attention to it is to go to the leader. And you talk about management, right? In leadership, the president, and I would take it a little further, the president is the administrator, okay? And he appoints managers. The problem we have in Liberia, again, it comes back to accountability. Because nobody is held accountable, then anybody does what he wants to do. And we have seen it. In all government that I have seen in Liberia, there are certain people that they will cherry pick and punish for lesser offense, and then those that are closer to them, they let them go without doing anything. And it's the same practice that's going on today. So are they right to go and sit in the hot sun to get the president's attention? I don't think that's the right means, but I think they may not have any other option if that report is accurate.
And basically it always comes down to it. Again, we always look at the economic factor. We look at the inconveniences. We look at things that happen. This is not the first time the AFL widows have actually staged a protest. The last time, when the Baka government first came into office, they shut down the entire Rawafi Highway road and in front of Camp Shefflin in those other areas. And I remember it was Jeremiah Cohn, the vice president, who had to go and talk to those women, and he was trying to negotiate and tell them exactly what they were going to do. Apparently, nothing was taken care of, because if these people are still coming and looking for redress, it is very clear that that situation has not been taken care of. But again,
so if I can get at a point. So first, it seemed like if this is happening on every administration, because it happened on Ellen numerous times. When Bernie Samaka used to deal with it back and forth, it happened on George Weah numerous times, and it's happening again. So it seems like there is some either lack of communication, because there must be something specific people are asking for, or people just don't care about answering or looking into their plight. That's why it seems that, because there must be something they're asking. Look, I'm aware of my husband died in the war. He was serving his country, and I want his benefit. And you're not getting it. And you're not getting it. And I think that's what they want. I don't think they really want just hand out. No, they're just telling you to give them what belongs to them. As a survivor of a national soldier or a national servant who died during the war or during his service to the country. I mean, how hard can that be? We're spending millions of dollars to do other things that, in fact, looking at, Sherry, it kind of bothers me. Look in these people budget, various ministries, the legislature, they both got allocation for party, for entertainment. You got allocation in your budget for entertainment. While other people are going hungry and they can't find food to eat, and they're asking for their rights, and you can't give it to them. I mean, how insensitive can you be?
Yeah, absolutely. And as we're about to just transition here to our next segment, but we really want to talk about just what is going on in the country. We're taking some of these topics, the hottest topic that maybe occurred last week and the week before that, and we're just kind of going through them as we go through this segment, Table Talk. You are listening to us on Freedom FM. It is 7.9 in Monrovia, and also on YouTube and Facebook. We said thank you for joining us, and please continue to share the broadcast, and please subscribe while you are there. Mr. Sapalucia, I want to transition now to our headline story that actually made a lot of headline this week. I think all the major platforms were talking about it. And it's this treasonous story that came about where Senator Edwin Snowe is quoted as quote unquote trying to destabilize the country, and all of these inflammatory stories that are coming out. I was watching Senator Snowe as he's making the rounds to try to set the story straight, to try to set the record straight. And I went back and I listened to the statement that he had made that is being blown out of proportion, and also listen to what the information minister said, and basically, so I just want to bring this to you. This story is just a headline story in the country. Edwin Snowe is trying to destabilize the government. He's trying to undermine the government. He's trying to do all of these things. The first thing I saw when I heard the story, I just got back in my little corner and I said, look, these guys are politicians. They will do all of these things, and tomorrow they will go sit somewhere and they will drink club beer and will be done. You, the everyday people, they don't. I mean, they really don't care. But you taking this story, you running with it, you know. But I don't know if you heard the story or if you saw the statement. Let me just get your viewpoint on it. What was said in that particular statement that make you believe, or the other way around, that Senator Snowe is in favor or not in favor of the government in the first place?
So, and I don't think this is the first time we heard those kind of statements that, oh, I want the government to. I think that was one of the statements that you made. I want to, quote unquote, people were saying, or that's how some people analyze me as he wants the government to fail. And if that is the statement they are reacting to, I don't see what Trish knows about it, right? Because just because Sherry King and Senator Emmanuel is doing something that is better than that, he sees better, and he say, hey, you Emmanuel, I really want you to fail, man. I mean, if you told me you wanted to fail in a class, what impact does it have on me? If I ever give you a real life story here, I know growing up, there was somebody who told me, you, without me, you'll be nothing and you'll be nobody.
Nothing good will come out of you.
Yeah. Nothing good will come out of you. As a child, they told me that. Mm-hmm. And I took that as a challenge. And today, if nothing good comes out of me, that person is still alive to see. So if that is the statement that was made without an action, I don't see how you can call that anything, in my opinion. Because if I said, if you define the word treason from the military point of view, it has to be something more than that. It has to be something like, okay, I said it, I had the means, and maybe you saw me bringing weapons, or you saw me training a group of people, or you saw me begin an attempt to assassinate somebody. Not just a statement that can bring to die. Because treason is not an easy thing. It's not a joke material. This is a first class felony. It used to be firing squad. It used to be punishable by firing squad in most countries, including the United States. Right? It used to be. So it is not something that you can just charge anybody with. You know, but this is what I can tell us. You know, one thing I see that have not just this government, but most government in Liberia, especially the last two in this government, is the dissemination of information from the information house is always either reactive or presumptive, in my opinion. That's just my observation, right? They are quick to react without getting the detail, and they presume that the person meant this. The last time I checked, you cannot convict somebody of intent. Okay, unless you saw something that proved that intent was warranted to commit a crime. That's just how I see it. And I don't want to give too much memory. I listened to Snowe himself trying to defend himself and talk about what he didn't say and what he said and stuff like that. But again, like the point you already made about giving this smoke to the everyday man to sit and divert their attention from what is more important to them and pay attention to this noise that people are making, because some of them are going to take it at heart. Oh, they're against my senator, I'm going to fight back. Oh, they're speaking against the government, I'm going to do this. Why are you doing that? Snowe, the Minister of Information, and all the other people drinking that beer, drinking that wine, and going on with their daily life, living life while you are struggling to find food to eat. So instead of that, pay attention to what you can do to feed yourself.
You know, I like the point that you made with regards to this is not the first time this has happened in the country. But, you know, I even want to bring that back to our own country where we live. I want to bring that back to the great United States, you know, and there was nothing treasonous, in my opinion, with what the senator said. The senator was very clear that he would like to see that government fail. And the reason he said that is because I want them to not be in power again the next time around. And so, yes, I want this government to fail. He did not mention that he wants Liberia as a nation to fail. He wants Liberia as a country to actually go backwards. No, Liberia as a country is doing a good job putting itself backwards. Nobody needs to say it. So I think leadership is putting the country backwards. Nobody needs to say that. But I want to go back to even similar stories that have been made here in the United States. You know, when Joe Biden, as soon as he took office as president, I think it was back in 2021, you know, and the number three senator, Republican senator in the House, I think his name is John Barrasso. John Barrasso,
Mhm.
he vowed that he is going to make Joe Biden a one, actually, he said a half-term president. He said, I don't even want them to get majority in the Senate, majority in the representative. I just want them to have half term. He said, I vow to do that. You know, and when John Barrasso said that, nobody said, oh, charging with treason. And because, I mean, the work of the opposition is not to make you comfortable. You,
No.
the present government. The work of the opposition is not there to cherry to rock you to bed, to sing lullaby to you and say, "Oh man, you're doing great. We love you." No, they still want to come back in power. And you did it to the CDC government, and everybody do it to each other. And so
Mhm.
when Senator Snowe said, "I want this government to fail in order for them to not get back in office," he is not coming to say, "Look, I want to go pick up arms. I want to go do this and want to bring and tear the country apart." But basically, that's what they ran with. Instead of taking that to be a challenge and say, "Aha, because they want us to fail, we will show them that we are not going to fail." Take it as a challenge and move forward. If man, Sabalusi, I really like the thought that you make about the real life events. Each of us, I
Mhm.
remember the first year in college. Here I came from Liberia. I've been going to OU there, come to the States, and I'm like, man, I'm sitting in an American classroom, and here I'm sitting here, and this professor walks in the class, and he greets everyone, put his bag, and you look at him and say, man, this guy is a serious professor. He know his stuff. And the guy said, if you want to drop this class, I will give you the opportunity to drop the class now. If you want to. He said, because I've been teaching this class for years and years and years. Not every one of you guys who start the class, unfortunately, will actually make it to the end. So if you want to drop the class, it's your time to think about doing that. Sab, I took that as a challenge. I said, what, what did our teachers in life do to us? Us who didn't have
Yeah.
money to bribe them. When they said it to us, we study harder. When they
Yeah.
say you're gonna fail this class, we study hard and we made it. I'm gonna take that as a challenge. I was one of those who ended the end. To his credit, many students dropped that class. Many students dropped that class. Here I was, come from Liberia. Age is already not in my favor. I'm sitting in classroom with 18 and 19-year-old kids. That Mimo can't drop class. No,
Yeah.
I didn't have time to drop class. I would go. I was going. And so basically, I was one of those students, and I finished that class. Not did I just finish the class, but I finished that class with an A. And so basically, I'm saying it not to raise myself here, my stature, but to say like when someone is challenging you, you should take that and say, okay, I will prove you wrong. That is where motivation comes from. That is where we grow. But apparently, this government they can't stand hard joke. They did not take that seriously.
No, I mean, and that's a problem in the country itself because that's what they have been. They have started nurturing people to the easy way out. Okay, nobody wants to be challenged. Everybody wants it the easy way, and that's why everybody wants to be in government. Because let's be realistic, the Lebanese guy that is in Waterside or the guy who has the company, he's not going to allow people to just come, they don't work and they get paid. No, I don't think Orange is doing that. I don't think those private entities are doing that. So the easiest place people feel that they can go and survive is in government because I can come and sign in and don't come to work and don't do anything. And then at the end of the month, I get paid. Yeah, it's the same principle they're using. So when you criticize that, it makes them mad. And I was telling somebody the same thing yesterday. I said, look, criticism is not negative or positive. It doesn't do anything different. All it should make you do is work harder to prove the person wrong. But if you say, oh, I don't want to hear this, I don't want to hear that, then you're going to remain like that forever. Then you're not going to improve. But we cannot build a nation. You can't be in opposition yesterday. You criticize the people for not doing anything. Then today, when you get there, you don't want to be criticized. There was nothing treasonable about that. In fact, let's take this to during Obama time. Obama had a lot of very good legislatures that were good for the American people. The Republicans said, you will make sure you are a one-term president. Will say no to everything. And almost
Mm-hmm.
80% of whatever laws that you are bringing will stand no and did not go through. Did he give up? No, he kept going. I didn't hear them
He kept
charging any.
he kept saying kept vetoing some of it, and
Yeah,
using the
yeah, he had to
presidential
deny. Yeah,
veto.
yeah, you're right. They didn't charge anybody with economic sabotage. They didn't charge anybody with treason. So why today somebody just make a statement? In fact, even during the CDC government, the same United Party would say CDC government was on the field. I didn't hear anybody charging anybody with treason or accusing anybody of treason. You know. And one of the statements that I heard from one of the supporters were they said one of the statements he made was intended to stop investors from coming. Well, if you think his statement stops investors from coming, what are you doing? That's the question you should be asking yourself. What am I doing to encourage investors? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
telling him, oh, you are creating pandemonium or whatever that is, what are you doing to encourage investors? What are you doing for your citizens themselves? Because in the last 2 years, I've not seen any company that already established that say, okay, Liberians are being employed. I have not seen any concession agreement, and maybe it's there. But if it is there, I mean, if it is there, then your information ministry is not doing her job. Then they put it out and say, okay, we just signed, the legislature just signed a concession agreement for us in MyGB, and there's a factory that's going to be open, 10,000 jobs going to be created. There's another one from Bon County. This company signed. Those information put it out. I watch reload sometimes. The class reload. And most of the guys I see on there are government official. Put this information out there. If you think the opposition is loud, you become louder if you are doing good things. But if the citizens themselves cannot see the good things, guess what? They're going to be calling all these opposition radio stations and telling the negative about the government. And if you don't want to hear negativity about your government, then do the right thing. That's all I ask.
And so to our everyday Liberians are very smart. They are wise people. They are smart people, and I think it showed in this current election. There were too many surprises that came in that this current election, and that just goes to the growth of civic
Mhm.
duty when it comes to Liberian. And you can come and scream all you want and beg them to tell you seque, they will do the seque, they will take the rice, they will eat it, but they know exactly who they want to vote for. They will make that decision. They will go in that direction. Now, is the rescue train? Is this train still rescuing people? Well, we are yet to see, because every day when you must look, I just came from the country, so I know what I'm talking about. I was just there. I just got here less than a month ago. So you walk the streets of Monrovia, you know exactly what's happening. You know the hardships. And I'm not just saying during the previous administration, it was bread and butter and people were living glorious life. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, when you listen to the everyday people and when you listen to marketers, you listen to people who are just trying to make it, they will tell you it is difficult. And one of the things that are frustrating the people the most is the fact that the government is really trying to do something to create this image of the city to make it look cleaner and beautiful and make it and beautify the city. So they are pushing all of these marketers out of the way. Like the campaign that took place in Red Light, where they were taking people out of the Red Light area, taking them from the street, sending them to Omega Market. They wanted to go to Omega, but there's no space. We all can fit in Omega. What are we going to do? It just seems as though you got more people selling than people who can even afford to buy. And so, in that kind of economy, how can the economy grow? And people try. I'm sorry. And so, instead of focusing on those important issues, how can we create jobs? How can look? One of the things that frustrated me, Sapolicia, is this: the country was already in dire need, right? And I'm not trying to paint a picture of Liberia like Liberia is falling apart, but the economic situation in the country was already hard. Then you had a whole segment of people that were working with the NGOs through the USAID program.
Mhm.
Those people now they lost their job. I got friends who lose their job. You and myself got mutual friends who work for those entities that lost their job. So let's say it was 5,000 people that lose their job. There was nothing put in place in this country where you said if you are working for an entity, paying taxes, doing all of those things, at the end of it all, if you lose your job, there's some kind of temporary relief. They call it unemployment. You still getting
Hmm.
something. You still
Yeah.
getting something. But that is not the case in Liberia. There's no such thing put in place that this man who have been paying his taxes, who have been paying his income tax and all of these different taxes for 2, 3 years, working with this UC organization, lost his job. I'm sorry, there's nothing there for you. And because of that, now the population of unemployed people in the country have just blown because now you got this extra 5 or 6 thousand people from those entities that got shut down joining this pool. And also, it just increased the economic hardship. So those five, let's say there were 5,000 people who lost that job. Those 5,000 people, the average household members in Liberia, you are at least looking at 5, 6 people in one house. So if there was a husband who lost his job, think about those 6 other people behind him. So you're not just doing it to 5,000 people, you're doing it to a plethora of people. And there
Yes.
is no solution to that. What is the government doing to help those people? What can we do to actually put something on the people table? How can we give the students relief to say, look, your parents, they can't come to job. The government schools are going to be the very best in the country. What can you do to make sure the kids go to school? We're not talking about those things, but we are talking about somebody who said, I want this government to fail, and then you look at it, you make it a news, and you call a press conference. Please give me a break.
But
Give
you
me a
see, and
break on
that's
that.
it's because of priority, right? We don't know what to prioritize. Most serious countries, no government, I don't know if country, but governments, what they would do is put money in most of the population pocket instead of the few, and that's how your economy grow. It is the opposite in our country. When government come in, they want to give money to the lawmakers, the top judges, the ministers. But then you got the civil servant still making $25, $100, $50, $75. What can I do? That can't build your economy. What if I know every time, like yesterday we are talking something different. Somebody brought up about America, this happening. I say, okay, now you brought this topic, you bring out America. So should I bring America in the other in the other discussion? Then the one drops back. But this is what it is. Where I sit, most companies, if I everywhere that I have worked, if anybody is, if the highest man there is making $6,000 to $7,000 a month, the least man is making no less than $2,000 to $3,000. That's what I have seen in the country that I work in. In Liberia, the wages disparity is so high that it is unimaginable. In that somebody is making $15,000 in the same government building, another person is making $50, $15,000 a month. But in that same building, somebody is making $50 a month. How do you expect your economy to grow? It
And the
won't.
person,
Because
and the person, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but the person who is making that $50, they can go 2, 3 months someday before they even get that $50.
yeah, that $50. But yeah, you still want your economy to grow. Your economy cannot grow under that kind of under those kind of circumstances. And especially those guys at the top, they don't really spend a lot of money. That's what people don't know in Liberia. The people who are rich, they don't spend a lot of money because first of all, they're not many. You're talking maybe if we were to put all of them together, maybe 50,000. I'm just saying something here. So look at 50,000 people, or so let's put into 700,000. So let's say the government is giving 700,000 people all the money, but then you got 2.5 million people who have money. Who would you prefer to have money? Because the 2.5 million will put more money in your economy than the 700,000 if you had two people with money. And that's why the so-called, that's why when I look at, when I sit and listen to some of the so-called brilliant, elaborate economists, it makes me laugh. I'm not an economist, but just living in America and see how they plan and run their economic system, who they target more when it comes to giving money to or hand out to. It makes me understand that, okay, this is what keeps the economy running. Because when money is in my pocket, guess what? I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to go to different shop. Okay. But when money is in your lawmaker pocket, where do they go? They go to France to buy. They go to Dubai to buy. They go into the United States to buy. You, the common man, you spend money in Liberia. And that's why the so-called economists who call themselves this brilliant Liberian economists, I have not heard them say that. And that is common sense to me. So until Liberia can redirect her priority, it's going to be difficult for our country to survive, or for the layman to survive in the country. We're going to continue with this valueless information that we want to make valuable, in my opinion. Because that statement was nothing to bring illiteracy. It's not even equivalent to economic sabotage.
All right, Mr. Sabalusia, thank you so much. On this note, we'll be ending our broadcast. And to our friends in Monrovia, Freedom FM 87.9, we say thank you for taking this program live. And those of you who join us on YouTube and Facebook, thank you for joining us. And please share the broadcast. And we will be here next week. Next week, we'll be here with another program on Liberia Shall Rise. On this note, we say thank you and stay safe. And we pray that very, very soon, Liberia indeed will rise. Stay safe, and we'll be seeing you shortly.